Right, you're live. I'm live. There I am. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, there I am. Sorry for the tech problem. You're live. I'm right. Hi, everyone. I am finally live. Just doing one little thing because when you do something, things don't stay the way they have to stay. So this is, let me see, how is it? It should be, yes, there I am. Perfect. Yeah. Hi. So this way, I'm sorry. Uh, I forgot how it works. So now I'm here, now I'm live. Hi, everyone. I hope you are well, great on this Friday. For me, it's already Friday night. For you, wherever you are, and in the moment you are, in the time you are, I hope you are great. So, I want just to calm down just 2 seconds because this was a little bit exciting to come in and make it finally work. And I was live somewhere else because I forgot that you don't go live on YouTube. You have to do the last thing, and so I was just fucking it up. But that's all right because I'm here live now. I was just a little bit, but I'm all ready now, all set up with everything I need. I see that I am in this. I am in the screen. I'm positioned as it is needed. So I wanted to do this because I have many things that I want to talk about, mainly about life and death. How these things work. I have already done something about death. I had straight away talked about life, but I wanted to separate the two, so I had done a second video, but I still have it in my computer, but I've never posted it, and so I decided to do a live about both life and death, and go through both of them this time together. So to go through these two topics that are probably two of the main, most important topics that we can have as human being, and because it's central in our perception of what we are. We are alive. Are we dead? Are we dreaming? Are we here? Are we there? Yeah, all right. But before I go into that, and we'll see if I'll have anyway some help. I'm interested to go through something that is related, but maybe it's news, information. I'm interested to have a conversation about news information because I've noticed, and I've been talking about this a couple of hours with some people, and I've been watching around, and I was consuming a lot of news, CNN, SNBC, SMNBC, these kind of things, and a lot, especially during the previous US election, and after the election, and I was every day I was going there watching Rachel Maddow and watching MSNBC and CNN a little bit less, but watching all of those things, and I was thinking that I was watching the right ones because Fox News is just crazy, and now I realize that in fact Fox News, MSNBC, MSNBC, CNN, they are doing all exactly the same work. The fact that liberals or those that are more center left or right, center left, moderate people will look at CNN as crazy. Most of the time, it's only because the news that Fox News reports looks like crazy to those people, to people that are connecting with that kind of more moderate view on politics. But for conservative, Fox News is perfect. They touch. They give the news exactly the way conservatives want to have it, or like to have it, or whatever. Whereas if you look at in the other way, when conservatives and more extreme or whatever right, you look, when they watch to CNN or MSNBC, they see that they are crazy and that the news that they are giving is crazy and absolutely not right, and that they're lying. So it really depends from which point of view you position yourself. And it's clear to me now that all of that is true. It's only a question of point of view, of perception, of how you perceive things. But when you look at things like in that way, you also realize that there is absolutely no difference between Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and all of other news organizations. I'm just citing those three, but there are a lot of, and even those that are independent and saying that they are not doing the same as the mainstream media. They are exactly doing the same as the mainstream media, but they present themselves as independent, and they present themselves as saying the truth when they are doing exactly the same, which is presenting the news in a way that the public that they want to have receive it and validate it. So and this can be understood very, very easily. If I like to take Israel as a example, because Israel is really typically where you can see the manipulation of every news outlet out there. Everyone does this, all of them, and they don't do it just with Israel. They do it with everything. When something happened in Israel right now, the information that we receive is the Israeli security force killed a Palestinian. This is typically the headline that you have when they talk about Israel. So you have already the news putting Israel as the bad guy because they say that the Israeli forces killed a Palestinian. So the Palestinian is the poor guy that was killed. Right. And most of the people will not go any farther than the title. And when they go farther than the title, they will have the news presented in a certain way. They will say, yes, the Palestinians were trying to force his way, and the bad security forces attacked him. Yes, he had a knife, but it was, little thing to say. But mainly the news is the bad guys killed the nice guys. This is how it is presented. Now, there is another way for presenting to present the news, and it is to say that during a in the situation that opposes Arabs to Israel, Arab penetrated with a knife somewhere in Israel and attacked Israeli people with a knife, and the Israeli police forces intervened, and the Arab was killed in the upcoming confrontation. This is simply what happened. But this is never what is reported. And I take this way of presenting it, this fact, because this is something that I have seen mostly, because you can put it just taking it out of any polarization, of any claim of of hate or anything. First of all, you take away any definition of Palestinian or not Palestinians. This is not really clearly defined. It depends from the point of view that you take. Are they Palestinian? Are they not Palestinians? Point of view. Truths are different, and truths are different, and they are both true. But if you are in the middle, you have to decide your reality, your truth. Which truth do you choose? Well, I choose to say that it's an Arab because they express themselves in Arabic. In that way, I'm not positioning myself neither for one, neither for the other. Then, this person had the intention of killing someone of Israeli citizenship. And the police intervened and killed him. This is simply what happened, right? If I go into Palestinian killed by Israeli forces, I am polarizing it, and I'm taking sides. And in the way you present it, you are presenting it so that you are completely in the conflict that is happening there. So, as I said, I took this example because I've seen this done so many times, and this is the manipulation that many news outlets are using to put Israel in a certain light and to put Palestinians in a certain light. One is the aggressor, the perpetrator, the other one is the victim. So let's not fuck around. There are no victims, there are no perpetrators. All is a question of perception. Is Israel stealing the land? No, Israel is not stealing the land. Are Arabs losing the land? No, Arabs are not losing the land. There is a conflict, yes, a conflict between people that perceive reality in a different way, and where the ones perceive, see, and have a truth that is true, that they have lost the land when Israel was created. And the other side, there is a side of those that have a perception that Israel is their promised land, and finally they have found it, and they took the land, and the land belongs to them because they were there first. So, again, a truth that is true because true is in the eye of the beholder. I can go into that and take sides. Poor Palestinians, poor Israeli Jewish. But when I do that, I'm only giving more strength to the conflict. I'm not supporting the Palestinian fight when I am validating their claim to victimhood. I'm just making them victims. I'm not making them win. I am not supporting or making winning the Israeli when I say Israel is in its right, because both these are true and correct when you position yourself from the point of view of that. But again, we're not here to fuck around. We are here to, let's say, awaken ourselves. And when you awaken in a point of view of spirituality, you have to realize that what is happening in Israel is something that is division, polarization, in a contrasting of point of view, of reality, of perceptions, and that both sides are right. Because both sides have different reality, different point of view, different truth. And every truth is true. So when you report the news and that you give into this perception of separation, you are not helping the situation. You are making sensation with it. So, and this is not just with Israel, it is with everything. You have to realize that when you have Anderson Cooper, when you have Rachel Maddow, when you have Joe Scaramucci, something like this, Joe, Morning Joe, Mika, his wife. When you have these people, John Hannity, and Judge Pirro, and this kind of thing, and I am some of Fox, some of CNN, some MSNBC. When you have these people are paid millions of dollars, right? In order to some give news, some are more commentators, some are just fucking around and just lying to their viewers, clearly manipulating them. They know they are manipulated, because that's not just them offering their truth or their point of view, it's them manipulating, knowing that they are lying to the viewers. There are some that are clearly doing that. Some other are trying to be honest, but they end up being dishonest, not because they have the intention, but simply because they are paid millions of dollars every year to give the news in a certain way. And I have heard this many times. Anderson Cooper, he's someone that wants to be honest in the way they give the news, they say the news, they are curious of everything, but the problem is that they are in a certain environment, and in that environment, well, that's what they do. They give the news in a certain way and they end up manipulating. So when you give the news, you always give the news from a perspective, a point of view. So it's always what you do. Now, as I was saying, these people are paid millions of dollars every year. And what they do is that they give the news to manipulate. And why do I say this? Because their goal, what they do, is not giving the news. What they do is that they have to retain the viewer. Why? Because they have paid advertisement in their show. So when they give it, they have to retain you. They have to have you staying there. So they have to do it in a certain way that goes with the way they think people react to it, so that they stay in their show. They follow them and they keep coming back, so that the advertisement pays for the TV, for the owners of the TV. So with this set of mind, you cannot expect that the news that you receive is not manipulated. They have to manipulate it, or they perceive that they have to manipulate it so that it's sensational, and people keep seeing, viewing it, or keep listening, keep watching it. And I can't tell you how they do it. So as I was saying before, I was watching this from when Trump was elected. I was following the election, and then I kept watching Rachel Maddow, Morning Joe, and many things on MSNBC. And what I saw is this. Each one and every one of these, and sometimes some days I was watching one, and after, all the videos of all the MSNBC shows, and all of them were talking about only one thing, and only one thing. There was nothing else. It's news, but there was only one news: Donald Trump. And all of them were talking of Donald Trump in a certain way. And every day the news was, it's the end of the presidency. This could be the beginning of the end of the presidency. This could be the end of Donald Trump. Oh, Donald Trump will go to prison. Oh, this could bring Donald Trump and his family in big troubles, and they could end up in prison. Oh, this will give ammunition for impeachment. He will be impeached. You will see soon impeachment. Every single day. This was all you could hear from these people. Every single day. For fuck's sake! Don't you have anything else to talk about? I mean, even if you focus yourself on the United States, as they are Americans, don't you have enough other things to talk about? You have 350 million inhabitants in the United States, and all you can talk about is Donald Trump? Right. Well, he's president, I know. But I am sure that many other things are happening in the United States outside of politics than Donald Trump. All they could talk about was that. So at some point, I was there saying, all right, now you have been talking about this for months now. Nothing happened. When is going to happen now? And it was still not happening. But you see, that's how they keep giving the same thing and keeping people in the same mindset, manipulating them with these things. And so the way they give the news is sensationalism and fear-based. They transmit fear to the viewer, because the viewer that receive that fear, that validate that fear, will come back watching the show, hoping for more of that fear, but also maybe hoping that they may give them a solution or finally a resolution for that. But that never comes. So they keep the viewership in a certain way in their mind, fear, sensationalism, so that they come back and the advertisers are happy. So you think that you go there for the news, in reality you go there for manipulation. You are manipulated. When you keep watching these people, they are manipulating you. But where they are absolutely masterful is that people that watch them do not perceive the manipulation. They think that these people are very honest and giving a honest view of the news. They're not. They're absolutely not. So there is clearly, and this is the mainstream. And when you go into what is independent, unfortunately, you don't have anything better, because they still have advertisement, and they are using the same techniques. They use fear, especially when you go in far right or far left outlets. Well, what you have is that fear-based information. The apocalypse is coming, and this and that, and they're stealing the election, and this and that, blah 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 blah. You know, this kind of thing. They are doing is exactly the same. So what I think it's needed now is to go into something that is more heart-based, and where you will always have a point of view, a perception, but if you base your perception, the perception that you give, the way you give the news, and the way you, even if you go, you have to give the news of something that is perceived to be negative, which is not negative, because there is no negative as there is no positive. But when you give the news of something that is, let's say, bad, you can give the news of that without need of doing it in a fear-based way. You can give it with just what happens, and then explain it from a heart point of view. Husband kills wife. Okay? Right. You can give the news in a certain way where you do not give a perception of the husband as being a terrible piece of shit, and you can give perpetrator, and you can give the news without depicting the wife as just a poor victim. You can humanize them, and you can give the news as what happened, a tragedy from a human point of view, but from a spiritual point of view, both of them have had an experience, and neither of them is dead. Yes. And then you can give also what is around that, and try, yeah, victim. I really come really to say to not to avoid the word victim, but I really say when right, victim. No one is a victim. And as long as we keep victimizing, because being a victim is not just when you are in the experience of being victimized. Being a victim is also the way everyone else perceive you. As long as you see women as victims of men, you are not lifting up women. You are just keeping them as victims, as inferior, as a poor woman. No, poor women. They're so feeble. They're so this. They're so that. Oh, men are just taking advantage of them because they are stronger. And you keep having that image of man strong, woman feeble. Woman need man because man so strong, and if woman wants to eat, woman needs man. No, women are not victims. So why keep just giving this kind of news in a victimizing way, where you keep the cycle going? So So this is something I am working on, and I want to develop and see that direction to go. Really take away as much as you can, and I mean, even if then sometime you slipped, or some, it doesn't matter. The thing is that you give the news in a way that is not in polarization, and that you have unity in as a point of view, remembering that we are all one. So even the worst things that are happening, first of all, it's perception. If you say it's the worst thing, well, it's only your perception, and you are validating it as worse by the fact that you say that it is worse. But then tomorrow always comes, so it's not that worse is a experience. So if you keep giving the news in a fear-based way, without solution, without giving any hope to anyone, well, that's what you have. But if you give the news in a way that takes away as much as possible polarization, and take away as possible the notion of perpetrator and victim, and where you present human beings as human beings, but also as creators, as gods having an experience, the news has immediately a different taste, a different point of view. And as you do not validate fear, because when you take away all of those things, fear is not in there. You are just presenting it as in that way, and then, well, fear goes away, because you give the perception that there always is a solution, or if you see it, if you see the problem, but yeah, if you see a problem, but it's not necessarily a problem. So anyway, when you know that the news is perception as well, when you know that the news is attracted as well, the news is creation as well, well, you are able to go into it in a different way, which leave manipulation away. I'm not here to manipulate anyone. I'm here to have my own experience and to have my own perception, my own truth. So when I do these kind of things, I am giving my perception, my truth. Obviously, I cannot give yours or anyone else's, because who cares? I'm talking, so that's what I do. But then, even though I do that, leaving all those things away, I am able to go into it in a way that is relatable, and that is, from the heart. And so lifting up, supporting, sharing light. So this is, wow. I've been talking about this for a while now, but this is the direction I think I want to go, because it's needed. There are people that are trying to do it. It's not that no one is trying to do it, but we need really more of this. We need to put effort in this, and not keep complaining about the fact that, the news, when you watch the news on TV, well, they have to do it that way, because otherwise no one will watch. Oh, there is a lot of crap, a lot of fear, a lot of this. Yeah, but no one will watch the news if they had only positive or other news that are. Why? People want only to have negative things? Really? That's what doesn't honestly doesn't make sense to me. But that's what this is only what the excuse that is presented. Everyone has to give an excuse. And the fact is that even those that say, I want more positive news on TV, then they are validating what is happening. Yeah, but I understand, people wanted that because if it wouldn't be interesting. Really? Have you tried? No. Well, how do you know that it's not interesting? You haven't tried. Anyway, we need to stop making excuses for ourselves, and we need just to do it. So this is what I am proposing to do. Right. So now I have prepared my potion. It's interesting because since now I have started to validate my sport, my friends, my cooking and all of that. So I have done this with ginger and lemon, and I have now, by listening, I found that you can make infusions with ginger without needing just to put pieces of ginger in it. You do it. Oh, no. Why do you say no? That's not, no. How do you call it? Well, you use, you go with the, how do you call it? How do you call this thing? Oh, gosh. Just a second. Wait a second. Right. I can't find the words no. So this, you take this and then you go. See? There. Yeah. So by doing that, your ginger is, you can use it perfectly, and you don't need to, the ginger is in there. You don't need to take it away, to take it out, and the infusion is perfect. And with that, you can add ginger in other things that you are cooking as a secret ingredient. Right. So, sorry. Next topic is about life and death. And so I think that I have some help coming in about this. Right. First of all, so life and death. I did this last year after Her Royal Highness Princess Popadevi died. She was a dear friend of ours. We met her many times, and it was a shock for, I think, for, she was someone that touched a lot of people, and she was close to our hearts. And when she died, it was a shock, and a shock for me. And I realized things about that afterwards. Why was I so shocked or affected by what happened. So after realizing that and also understanding exactly what really happened, I went on recording a video about death, explaining from the point of view also of the Seth material. Seth explains very well in the Seth material what life and death are and what happens, and from the perspective of time, how what happens in between lives, and validating our perspective as human being of having a next life, whereas obviously, as we have, there is no time, there is no next life, everything in creation is happening now. Anyway, it's if anyone is interested in reading something, the Seth material is certainly a book to read, or books to read, because there are several books. And then, as I said before, I recorded also about life. Seth speaks about life, obviously, also. But I didn't want to, I was resisting the idea of publishing that video, because that video, I was a little bit talking about birth, explaining what birth is, and and always putting the experience from the point of view of the creator, and reminding everyone that we are creator beings, and that the law says that everything is here and now. So what about when there is a birth, when a child is birthed in this world? Whose experience is it? Well, Seth explains it very well. So he says that the being that is being birthed, the creator that is experiencing coming into the world, is actually not in the baby yet. Or as he says, between conception and between some months even after birth, it's the time lapse when the being that is the child is going to take physical manifestation. So it means that until the being, until the creator, the God, the being doesn't take possession of the body of, well, what is happening? and if the being manifests itself or create itself or take embody or months after the birth, what does it mean for the baby? Because the baby has no soul until the soul comes in. What does it mean? So I was thinking, is going into this is a little bit, some could perceive this as me trying to destroy the connections between parents and children. Well, no, but I realized that was just my fear, my perception, and who cares what people think? If someone doesn't like it, they can go fuck themselves, because I don't care. I mean, it's just the way it is. And so I present this, and then I cannot just put myself in a situation where I project, someone reacts, and I'm scared. So I was just projecting my fears. So letting go of that, let's go into the topics. So, and let's start with the topics that I was avoiding. So what is life and what is being birth coming into this world? So the physicality, the story that we are telling ourselves is that there is conception. So one man, a woman, and sometimes you don't need one of the other. You have artificial things that can be done, but actually it doesn't matter how the story is, but one man, a woman, they have sex, there is conception, and 9 months later, a child was born into this world. Right, this is the story, and then from there, the child grows up and becomes a young human being, and then an old human being, and then they die. Right, this is the physical story in just 30 seconds. Right, now, however, even though that is what we perceive and what we perceive in time, we know that this story has a lot of problems. The first problem is that time doesn't exist. Even though we are in time and we validate time, yes, nevertheless, time still doesn't exist as a fact, as something that is there. Time exists because we create it in order to use it as a tool in our reality. So when I validate time in that way, yes, the lifespan, telling about life in that way makes sense. But when I know and I understand that I validate that time doesn't exist, I cannot anymore accept that as truth, because validating the fact that time doesn't exist have consequences. So you have to take time out of the equation. And then there is the other thing that doesn't work in there is that is the law. I exist here and now. And as time doesn't exist, here now is now. It's not yesterday, it's not tomorrow, it's not 1 second before or 1 second after, it's exactly right now. And the laws mean that I'm creating myself here and now. All right, okay. As a grown-up, I can understand that. But when I think about children and how children come into this world, then there can be a problem. And the problem is that the parents experience the birth, especially the mother. Right, yes. Is that what? Well, I was saying before, and Seth is very clear about that too, the laws are still valid in there. So what does that mean? It means that birth is the experience of the parents, mainly. The child, the being that is the child, can have the experience of being in the belly of the mother. Yes, to be in the placenta and all that. You can have that experience and you can create yourself in that. I don't see why anyone will do that systematically. You can have the experience, and I think all of us as beings, we all had that experience, but you will not have that experience every time in all the life that you have and that in all the birth that you have and you are supposed to be having. So that's why there is this, let's say, time when the being actually becomes the human being. Let's say it this way. Yeah, I think this is a good way to say it. The being, so the creator, the God, the being that he's coming into this world, incarnating into this world, has to become the human being, the incarnation. When does that start? Well, there is no start, obviously, because there is no time. So starting is not really a concept that is correct. But nevertheless, at some point, the creator has to start creating. And that is between the conception and some months after birth. So that's why the experience of the birth, the experience of being pregnant and the experience of the birth is mainly the experience of the parents, of the mother. What does it mean with the connection between the child and the mother and the parent? That doesn't change, because that's what a belief system that we have created, that the parents have, that the children learn about. And so that thing is real for them, because that's how the story is told. And what is, by the way, and by the way, not all the things happen in physicality. So what is from then to now can happen in the dream state, which is what we do very often. I was saying this week, the Christ, Jesus Christ, was not incarnated. It was a dream. Jesus Christ was appearing or having his lives in the dream state. People were dreaming about the Christ. Doesn't mean that it was not real, doesn't mean that it was not there. He was there, but mainly in the dream state, That's how the experience was lived. And it was such an experience that it was very wide. Nevertheless, it was not physical as we can intend it. It was done in creation. It was real in the dream state. So many things that we are experiencing are done in the dream state. So all of this to say that what is happening with the birth is also something that can happen as a dream state. There are people that say, I remember when the first thing I saw when I was born. Is not, you should see, they can have been creating themselves exactly at birth or before. So there is no law, actually, or for determining when a being actually incarnates. So anyway, all of this doesn't take anything away from what happened in the idea of parents and children, because that is something that we validate, but it's validated as a belief system. It's not validated because of birth. Birth is a experience as every other experiences. So you have to see this. Yeah, let me drink something. So let's even take a step further, because humans do validate birth, conception, and all of this as physicality, right? Okay. If you want to see it as physicality, as the story that you say as a human being, it's fine. There is no problem. You don't have to see it in any other way. That's the way it happens. However, birth is from a perspective or from a spiritual perspective. Let's try not to say higher perspective. There is no higher perspective as in higher perspective. It's more of higher in the sense, higher vibrational perspective, but actually there is no higher. Anyway, from a spiritual point of view, what is happening, there is no birth. A being comes and incarnates itself into third dimensional earth. It's energy. And that energy belongs to the creator that creates itself. There is, however, the need, as the story you are telling yourself in the dimension is a story of physicality, you need an enter point. So the enter point is conception and birth, 9 months and then birth. That's what you have. That's what you call the permission slip that give the excuse for anyone that incarnate themselves to be on earth. Oh, you are alive. You're here, incarnating yourself. Yeah, look, that's my birth. Oh, right, you were birthed. So that's why you are here. Yeah, I need an excuse in order to be here. Right. Okay, because why? Because the story that you tell in the dimension is that you need an enter point, you need an exit point, and in between you have a life. But if you take away this story of human belief system, you have what? Energy, 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 energy. All the time is only what? Energy. And that is true in every dimension, in every situation, in creation. Energy, light, energy, right? Then you have the story you tell yourself. And the story of a human being is that when you are alive, in order to be alive, you need a birth. Right? You need parents. Because if you have no parents, for you, the belief system is that you cannot be alive, you cannot be incarnated. How can you be here without parents? Jesus Christ. Oh, right. Conception. Oh, no conception, actually. Oh, right. Oh, but baby, the story that the Christ was telling you is a different story, and it's the story of the being that is incarnate, that is creating itself, and that was not created. Interesting, isn't it? When you take it from that point of view, you understand that the Christ was saying, I create myself. But the story that is told is a different story because you have to do it in another way. And still, you cannot admit that the Christ created itself, so you put a mother in the story. Right? Okay. Anyway. But the Christ was going in that direction of saying, I create myself. I'm the creator creating myself. Now, the Christ said also, what I do, you can do and more. So what was he telling there is that I create myself as a creator. My God, you are the same. So that's what happens. And that starts with conception, with 9 months, and then with birth, right? But the truth is that it's energy. So the question that one could ask, let's ask it. Well, I ask it, and I answer it too. Oh, I'm doing all the job. What about conception? A man, a woman come together and there is conception, right? Okay, so energy is given into the conception, and then you have the birth of a child, right? Energy is given, energy is birth, and energy has a life. Okay. Does that have a influence in the story? Of course it has an influence in the story because of the belief system that you have, but also because the energy is still given. You share your life, you give your life, and then it's a question of other being accepting your life. Parents, mother, father, and child decide to have an experience. They are co-creating. The co-creation is what? Creating the experience of having a child for them and to be a child for the child, for the other being. But you have still to understand one thing, is that the child is not a child, it's a being. The being is only pretending not to be equal with the parent. It's only pretending to be feeble. It's only pretending that he needs help from the parent, because that's the story you are telling yourself. So the three beings, equal beings, come together, have an experience, and there is a child, and there are the parents. The child is supposed, by what? Belief system, to have received the biology from the parents. Now, obviously, there is no biology. From again, spiritual point of view. Why? Because it's energy. But nevertheless, you have what? DNA. The DNA is still valid. Not valid in biology as you perceive it, because biology is absolutely not the truth. The truth is that you have DNA, and that DNA is wider than what you express in your scientific theories. So that in reality, this DNA is what is the base of the incarnation, and that DNA has the information not just of this incarnation, but the old incarnation of all there is, of this being is in that DNA. So the information from the parents is already in DNA. Why? Time being non-existent is not a question of time. It's not a question of the two having sex and having then conception to have the DNA created. The DNA already exists, and everything is about attraction. So the DNA already is there. The information is already existent when the conception is created, is there, when there is conception. Conception is only the story you are telling yourself. But you should have understood by now that that is not what creates the being. Because the physicality is only the story you tell yourself. There is no physicality in reality. That's the story you tell yourself. So the DNA is still valid, but not in the biological sense, scientific biologic sense that you give it. Right. So the influence, but it's not an influence. So the connection, the story, the history, everything that is around the parents and the children is still valid. but not because of biology, but because of energy. They give their energy to create the child, but in fact, the child doesn't need creation because the child creates itself. And the parents are having an experience of birthing a child, but it's their experience from their point of view, whereas from the point of view of the child, what it happens that is the child is creating itself. Again, this is the spiritual, let's say, point of view, or I should say, the point of view of creation. Each one of these beings, mother, father, and child, are having an experience from their point of view. And they are telling themselves a story, attracting the story so that the one needs to be pregnant and take 10, 20 pounds, and the other has to be supporting her during 9 months, watching the belly becoming bigger and then touching the belly and trying to be the closer possible to the child, because there is a connection that the father has to build with the child because the child is in the belly of the mother. And so the father is so concerned with the fact that he has to be the closer possible so that the connection is already created during those 9 months. Again, what is happening is belief system, perception of the father needing to do that. Is that valid or not? Of course it's valid. Why shouldn't it be valid? It's the story of each one of these beings that they tell themselves. It's valid. But you as human beings, you tend to say, if then you say the story of, if the story is not like this, oh my goodness, then our connection, oh dear, what's this? Because you are completely in this, or you are then you say, oh, I have to throw this away. No, you throw nothing away. The story you tell yourself is still valid because you need that story. But then you can take another perspective and see the perspective of creation, which adds to your understanding. And this is the perspective of creation. Creationally, everyone is creating themselves and everyone is having an experience. There you have it. And then everyone is having an experience that follow what is the birth with the childhood of the child. And there again, the child, the being that is a child, the creator that is the child is having experience of being a child. So the child has to go through learning, has to learning to be a human. They have to learn to be a human. Obviously, you have, all of you, you had to learn to be a human. You didn't know what to be this human meant. How could you have known it? Because there is separation that is coming into the equation as soon as you create yourself as a human being. You are disconnected, or you perceive yourself as disconnected, or you perceive more and more as you continue in your experience as a human being, you perceive yourself more and more disconnected, and you perceive yourself more and more as a human being. And as soon as you perceive yourself more and more as a human being, the more you are disconnected from the creator. But as a child, that's not how you begin. As a child, you begin still being more close to the creator. And then you forget the creator and you enter into human being. The experience of the human, the experience of being little. Nothing. God that is not God. God has forgotten the godness. And so you have to go more and more in that tunnel of forgetfulness, of human. I'm human, and human is supposed to forget. And then human is supposed to remember. Supposed, yeah, but not obliged. You can not remember, and it's fine as well. And then remember, they say, is awakening. But I mean, because you're supposed to go into sleeping as soon as you forget the creator. And very often forgetting the creator comes with religion. Religion is taking away the creator and replacing the creator with another kind of creator that exists outside of the being, and that doesn't validate anything inside of the of the being, because well, because religion doesn't want to share your soul. Religion wants your soul, wants your everything. Until then, you start awakening. At some point, everyone awakens. Everyone, because everyone is going back to the creator. And I mean, going back, everyone is still, again, even though still the creator. So that's why you keep creating yourself. Even if you have forgotten, you still are doing it. Even though you are validating yourself as a human being that is little, that is a perpetrator, that is a victim, that is whatever, and then that is just there to try to survive through these years of time and time and time, and then becoming older and older and older, and then it's terrible because I'm older, and then I become so ugly, and then the more I become older, the more I go to die. So have to fight getting older and try to stay as young as possible, because the more I stay young, I will cheat death. And then if I make money, oh yeah, making money makes me someone, and I become so big, so better than others, and then I achieve more than others, and yes, let me be this achievement. I want more. And with this, it's so easy to forget. And with this, it's so easy not to see the creator that is still there. But the creator is still there. And even that, all that confusion, all that more and more, it's still creation. But it's validated in a different way. It's not validated from the point of view of recognizing the creator that is still creating, is still being there, supporting the experience, because it's an experience. It's life. It's why you're here, for that. So, from those two parents, two beings that came together to create a child, you have this child that come into this world. But now, we were talking about what? About the fact that if you take away the story you are telling yourself, what remains is what? Energy. Energy coming together, or energy attracting energy and creating energy, or creating a enter point for more energy or for other energy, and that energy becomes child. right? This is the story you tell yourself in the dimension. Now you have to take also the perspective of seeing what is other dimensions where beings still exist. I mean, beings exist, and they can have the experience of being birth, but then the experience there is, it becomes, the higher you go, really only the energy or the creation, the experience. You experience being born. Yeah, but that's you having the experience. Energetically, you don't need to have sex, or you don't need to have any excuse. You don't need to have any other experience or perspective. Because at that point, everyone is I am. Everyone is, they simply are, and they don't need to tell themselves a story. And at that point, the experience is more, let's say, doesn't need any excuse, or doesn't need an enter point. You don't need an enter point. You are just there. You create yourself and you are there. And then sometimes you can have some beings that exchange their energies. But the experience of the birth is specific for you in this story you are telling yourself. Because in order to validate the fact that you are separated, you need to have a story that you tell yourself of birth and life and death. Oh, am I still here? Yeah, sorry. I keep doing this. Right. So that the experience is still... so your experience, your story, it remains valid as it's your story, and it's your reality, and it's your creation. So everything that you perceive in it and you want in it is still valid and remains valid, doesn't go away. The link that you have with your parents, the connection and whatever, the fact that you talk on the phone every day or every month or every year or as less as possible, well, that's your reality. That's the story you tell yourself. That it's how you perceive it. It's how you have it. Some have a stronger, some have a less stronger connection. Some have had an amazing childhood, and other had a pitiful childhood. All the story that we are telling ourselves as human beings, right? Okay. It's valid. It's in creation. You attract it as your reality. Again, that is not to be forgotten or let go away. It's what is your story, and it remains valid. But you can have now a perspective of creation, because the perspective of creation is still valid. And it's, let's say, more valid, one could say, but let's not go there. Let's stay with what you can perceive and what you can accept as a human being. You need your story. Tell the story. Be the story. Accept the story. Because it's a beautiful story. It's a story that everyone all over the universe, and let's say many species, are watching, because they are interested to see how this story is told, how what they perceive is happening. What is that? What is the experience of that you are having? Not just from the point of view of energy, but from the point of view of the story. What is your story? And so it's beautiful. It remains valid. But you always have to remember, you have to put yourself from the perspective of the creator. And when you put yourself from the perspective of the creator, what is happening is that a creator is incarnating itself and not being birth, because that's not possible. Again, as time is not something that you can simply validate as a truth, universal truth or creational truth, but you have to see time as a construct, as a tool that you have, and this is a tool that is given to you at any time. You can tell yourself the story. Now, that story has a hand, because that story is told in time. So when you put yourself in time, you have a birth, you have a life in the middle, and then at the end, you have death. But there, death is exactly the same thing as birth. You need an enter point, you need an exit point, and the exit point is death. So you have to have an excuse for being here in your creation. On Earth, you need an excuse, and your excuse is, I was born on February the 5th. Right, that's your excuse. Oh, when was that? 1815. Oh, I'm very old. 205 years. Well, you don't validate that, so that's interesting, isn't it? But we'll come back to this later. So you have a date where you put your birth, and then you have a date where you put your death. So you have your enter point and you have your exit point. And Seth is also telling about this. You have many exit points that you have as potential for each of you has exit points, many exit points, and then it's up to them to decide whether they use them or not. But basically, still that is the story you tell yourself, because death is what? The validation of the fact that you're not there anymore. The validation of the fact that the people that were able to see you before are not able to see you anymore. You're not there. They cannot see you, but you are there. But they can't see you. Why? Because your focus is somewhere else. They were focusing here. You were focusing here, and as long as you were focusing here, everyone could see you in this here. But then you change your focus here. You haven't changed the place. You have changed. You are still there, but you are focusing here. So people that are still focusing here will not be able to see you here, but they had the habit of having you here. So how is it that you are not here anymore when they are telling the story that you were here? Then you have to give a validation, a excuse, a belief system, or whatever you want to tell for them not seeing you. And that's called death. But no one dies. However, everyone dies, because that's the belief system. And here it is, birth and death are belief systems for entering this world and for exiting this world, for entering this reality, for exiting this reality. But you existed before being birthed, and you exist after dying. Why? Because birth is the experience of the living, death is the experience of the living. Or the external, because there is the need for those that are co-creating with you to have to have an enter point for you so that you can be in that reality. And those that are co-creating with you, they need an excuse, they need a validation for the fact that you are not with them anymore, that they cannot see you anymore. So one is called birth and the other is called death. And again, this is a perspective of the creation. But no one dies. It's even in the Bible. Your soul is eternal. So if your soul is eternal, how can you die? You can't die. Even though in the Bible they created the soul because they needed something to hold you so that you could be scared of losing your soul. How can you lose your soul? I don't understand it because I have no soul. How can I lose a soul? The soul doesn't exist, but you have constructed this idea of the soul for religious purposes. But you are a creator, you exist without needing a soul. If you understand the soul as your global self, Max, Max likes to call it global self. Why not? It's a way to see it, but it's certainly better than soul. But the soul is construct from the point of view of religion, because if you have a soul, you can lose it, and then you can be sent to hell, and it validates hell. It validates the fact that you can lose all that. So they hold you by your fear of losing that, because, well, obviously you as a little human, you can lose your soul. That makes sense. That makes absolutely, completely sense to tell the story in that way. You can lose your soul here. But your soul, you don't know about your soul. Your soul is supposed to be higher than you. And how can you lose it? Or how can you sell it? How can you do anything with your soul? But anyway. Fascinating humans. How is fascinating? So easy to manipulate you. Anyway, so you need to have all of this permission slip or all of these things in order to enter and exit and tell your story in between. But what is before? What is after? The creator. So you are a creator before, you are a creator during, and you are a creator after. You are always a creator. You cannot be anything else than creator, because if you were not a creator at any point of this, no one will exist. You cannot be non-existent. You cannot be non-existent because non-existent doesn't exist. You are a creator always. You exist in any now, and in whether they do now or whatever, you exist. You are. I am always. And your reincarnation is not then what the story you are telling yourself. The story needs someone to be told, and you are the creator, so you are the one that is telling the story. And in order to have a story, you have to tell the story from a perspective, and that perspective have to exist outside of the story. So, how could you not be before and after? When before and after are nonsensical, but anyway, let's admit this for the sake of your understanding. You are only existing, only existence all the moment, all the time, because you are. So what happens in between lives? What happens when you are not incarnated? What happens? Well, let's put it this way. You have a lot of fun, and a lot of fun. Fun, it's a concept, a human concept, but let's use that. Watching here and there, going through time, understanding that there, your focus here, your focus there, all these incarnations here and there, all these stories that you are telling as a creator, infinite stories, because as a creator, you are huge, you are infinite, you are, and as you are not limited, as you are limited in your story that you are telling yourself as a human being, as a creator, you are simply everywhere in your creation. And you are able to be anywhere you want in your creation without being there. You can go through it, you can watch it, you can just focus a second on this and that and there. It's happening anywhere without needing you to do anything about it as a creator. Creation happens. And then you give, you do, you look, that, right, nice. Oh, that's a nice story. Let's tell that story. Oh, great. Oh, hey, you over there, mother, father. Oh, let's come together and have a family. Yeah, well, generally, you know, you don't say it, but I'm telling it for you. So, hi, mother. Hi, father. Let's have an experience. I have a story I'd like to tell in human. You have a incarnation in this moment in human. I'd like to come in and say a story as a human. Give me an enter point. Okay, all right. Oh, I like having you as a child. Let's do it. Let's have the experience. Let's be human. All right. Thank you. See you soon. Anyway, it doesn't really happen like that because there is no communication needed. Anyway, there is a story to be told, and then there you have the story. Your enter point is there, and then you have all the story. But you see, the story that you are telling, that you are creating as a creator is infinite. So when you decide of a incarnation as a creator being, is that you are giving to that creation everything. The story is infinite. And you are creating a creator. You are birthing a creator. Because you cannot birth anything else than a creator. And the story, human story. Mother, father, give me an enter point. Yeah. Right? Okay. But it's a connection, it's a relationship, but it's a enter point. I need you so that I can have a story of being incarnated. But I am creating myself, right? It's just that I need you in order to have the experience. And you need me in order to have the experience. And then we tell a story together as co-creators. Ah, nice, great. All right. Well, the other, oh yeah, but you see, there is this other story I'd like to tell. Mm, in this other reality, would you be mother, my child in this other? Yeah, okay, right. I'll be your child in that other reality. Oh, great. Oh, and you, nephew, will you be the other parent? All right, I'll be your other parent so that, okay, right. Because, well, it's the story is told in a different way in that reality. So we need its nephew and mother that there are co-creating, right? Okay, story is different. Oh, look over there. There is another reality. Oh, I want to go there. Oh, so exciting. Look, it's 2020. I want to be incarnating there in 2020 on Earth. It's a very exciting time to be incarnating. Oh, well, let me see. 2020 Earth coordinates stuck. Okay, in order to be incarnating in 2020 there when he is happening. All right, let me see who in my. Oh, there, you over there, mother. Oh, and you over father, right? Sister. Oh, right. I have a family. That's nice. Yeah, because I want to be there in 2020. So I need you to be. I need to co-create with you. Is it all right? Yeah, great. Okay, let's do. Oh, wow, it's so exciting now. Let me see. So, the story I want to tell there, right? So, this is the potential. So, I need, all right, over there. Oh, that's, yeah, awakening. Oh, that's a good time, a good timeline. I could think I could have that experience. So let me see. In order to have that experience, I need potential. I need to create this in that way. All right. Oh, look. Yeah, there, over there, you over there. Oh, Roxy, all right, Roxy, look, I'll need you to have an experience with me as a potential at that moment in 2020. I need, right, are you all right? Yeah, okay, we can together. Yeah, oh, so exciting, right? Oh, you over there, oh, you, right, in 2025, and there is this, did you go, okay, right, we, as a potential, you see, well, we'll see, but you know how it is. We'll track. Well, anyway, it's going to happen, but we need to create the potential. Are you on board? Oh, great. Right. We are going to co-create with that. Oh, right. Just, right. There is that. Okay. Is it all right? Okay. Wow. There I have created my experience as a creator being. I'm creating this creator being. Right. Fascinating, isn't it? Right. I have it now. And now let's have the experience. Let's have the fun. Enter point, exit point. Great. And I can see it as a creator being. I can see it because I'm creating it as the higher perspective, or has the fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional that being that I am as a creator. I can already see all of it. So I'm creating all of it. And as I'm out of time, I can see all the experience there in time. And if I want, I can even go in there because I am in what? Time, space, or even not, but it depends. But anyway, I am not validating time. I can use time. The creator that I'm creating in there, the fractal that is validating time, well, he is in there, right? And I can go in there anytime with him, but I'm not staying. I'm just going to watch sometimes if I want. But anyway, he is his fuck to do. I'm not needing there. But you see, when I want, I can go. When I don't want, I don't go. I have so many creations around here. I mean, it's not around, but to give you an idea. so many beings, so many creation, and then yeah. Oh wait, just a second. Sorry, just wait. Stay there, exactly there where you are. Stay there, exactly there where you are. Stop. Wow, I see a potential over there. I see a potential. Let me see. Oh, I can go. Let me see. Oh, that's interesting. Let's create. Oh, look, something very interesting is happening in that other, that other planet. Oh, that planet is over there. Oh, it's in the Pleiadian. I can create a being there. Yeah, why not? Right, let's create that. It's exciting! Let's do that! You see? But obviously, as we're saying, all of this talk is only for the show for you, so that you can see that the creator is creating, but the creator doesn't need to talk about creation because the creator is doing what? It's just creating. Duh! It's just you need that to perceive a little bit how it's done. Creation never stops. And you see, when Max's higher self created Max, they created a creator. They didn't create anything else. You cannot create anything but a creator. That's how it works. That's how it goes. Creator, creator. And all of this, creation and the story and all that is organized. And I mean, it's infinite. So everything is there anyway. And then every aspect of the creator, even the fractal that you are attracting everything, and everything is possible. Everything is there. You, that point in creation, you are infinite. So everything is there. So life and death, from that perspective, is an experience that you have as a fractal, yes, but as a creator, you don't have those experiences because you are creating all the time. So you are always creating. And then you have the enter point, you have the exit point, and it's only what? Focus, energy, it's experience. And how the story is told. And when you say a story, if you say the story where you are in the moment, where you are a participator into a experience, well, you have to be there. And when you are telling the experience that you were there, but now you are not there anymore, so you have to exit that, so you have to die. But that is still a belief system that you need in order to be able to tell the story. But when you are just experiencing it, well, no, it's the living that are experiencing. I mean, when I say the living from your perspective of humans, the humans that are alive, but in fact, the one that is supposed to be dead is still alive because you cannot die. You change your focus and you keep going. I mean, nowhere, because you go nowhere. You are simply still there. Going back to the creator, but you cannot go back to the creator because you already are the creator. You are already all there is. You are already part of all there is. You are already part of the one. So you are just, again, telling yourself a story. And all of this is all right, because that's why you are, and everyone in creation, he's having life is to have an experience. So everything is valid. Life, death, in between is an experience, and it's valid. And everything you say, you tell as a story in there is valid. It's real. This is not that it's not real. It's real. What you feel, what you have is real because you validate it. And there is nothing that you need to do in order to not validate it because it's there. If you refuse it, what purpose does it serve to refuse what you have? If it's there, it's because you want it to be there. It's because it's your preferred reality to have it, and you have it. You wanted it, it's there. So in all that we have said, it's to give you a perspective of the creator. The creator sees the things in a certain way. Whew. It doesn't take itself so seriously as you do. You are so dramatic, you sometimes, many times. All right. So, and by the way, that's what you do yourself many times, all the time. When you write a book, when you have some of your writers writing a book and they write about this fictional beings, they're not fictional. For you reading it, maybe, but not for them because they exist. A creator creates. You think that they are just creating words? No, they are creating a reality. And these beings that they are telling the story, fictional story in a book, they are real. They exist. It's a word that they are creating. The creator can do nothing else than creating. There is no such thing as fiction. It's real. And it doesn't matter what excuse you use to tell a story. It's real. It's a reality. It's a creation. Your TV show are real. Those beings whose story is told in your TV shows, they are real. They exist. And it's funny because you have the actor and you have the being. What you see, and it's funny because Max is laughing because there are all these videos about mistakes that are made in the movies. But it's just belief system. You believe that there are mistakes in the movies, so you have mistakes in the movies. But that's the funny thing. Anyway. The actor, what is the actor that is in the movie? It's a created self, is a personality of the creator. And then you have the movie, and in the movie you have the actor that is supposed to be acting, and that's real. The actor has acted and has created the movie. But you see, that's one thing. That's one way of seeing things. There is also the thing that what you see in the movie, it's what? A personality. There you have the story of the movie that is done, and then you have the story of what the story in the movie is, and that is a created version of the being that is having what? An experience of this other life. They have the same face, yeah, but that's your perspective. That's what you see, because you believe that the actor and the character in the movie are the same. So you need to see the same face. Do they perceive themselves in the same way? Maybe, or maybe not. But as in creation, the creator is always creating. Therefore, when you create a story, you are creating a world that is real. So those stories that you are telling, whatever story it is, they become real. And when you have a story that is told in a certain way, and then you have all these people that are telling the story in a different way, or I wish that you had done this in another way. Oh, why didn't you think of doing this in this different way? Oh, why did you kill off this character? I wish you could keep this character, and that you could have done many things with this character. All this is real. All these are what you are experiencing, because you are exactly the same. Your life, your character, your different selves is the same. You have choices that you do, and your choices lead you to other choices. So you have your life that is told in many ways, and you have a self, you, that is experiencing life in a certain way, and you have you, but another self that is over here having their experience of life valid as yours, but they have made different choices. Well, a movie is the same, except that you tell yourself a story of a movie that has been created with what? Actors telling a story, and accept that the story is real. You see the actors, but the story is still real. It's a creation. From the moment that there is a story, there is a reality. Why? Because you are a creator, and those that have created the story are creators. And every one of you that is seeing the story, you have your version of the story, and you are creating the version of the story. So there is infinite versions of the story told in a different way by different creators, which means that there you have it. There you have it. Different versions of the selves created by with different perspective. So, and it's real. It's yours. It's there. You see a movie and then you don't like the way the movie goes, and you say the story in your head in a different way. Well, you are not telling yourself a story. You are creating a universe, because you are a creator. You cannot be anything else than a creator. You really thought that a creator is a creator no matter what. And even if you are a fractal, you are still a creator, creating. And as soon as you say all the story is then infinite, because these beings that you are perceiving and you are telling them their stories, maybe you are telling the story of what, 1 day, 10 days, 1 year, but these people have a story that is bigger than that. So, well, the story is in there too, and they have all of that, whether you think of it or not, it's still there. Because it's infinite. Creation doesn't need you to be focused on it. That's why your higher self is not focused on you. They don't need to. And still you are going along, creating yourself and creating any other story that you want to create. Infinite. It's just your mind, your ego, your fractal mind that limits what you perceive of it, because you can't do anything else. Then limit yourself. You think that you are little, that you are nothing, that you are this and that. Well, you are a creator. Every single human being, every single being that is there is a creator. So you see how infinite creation is. And you say, well, where are they? Where are they? Oh, I can't see this creation. Remember that space, time, neither space, neither time are real. You are in space time, so you have, and that's why you need time, is because you move in space. In order to justify the fact that you move in space, you need time to tell the story that you go from this to that. That's why you have time, because you are in space. All right. I think we are going to leave you with this. I think we have given a lot to think of, isn't it? We will stick around. If you have any questions, if anyone wants to ask any question, please ask away. All right. Let me see. Right. Well, that's interesting. No. Right. So I see that I have. Let me just. Thank you, Roxy. Sorry. Oh, wow. Well, that went farther than anything I was expecting. What I wanted to talk about, but it's interesting, and I think, a lot of this is also based on the Seth material. Seth said it very, very well, and I see that things go a little bit, there is always a bigger perspective, or, I think that we have to understand that when we receive channeled material, or these books and these kind of things, we are co-creating those things. So, and the way we receive it is also the way we can receive it, meaning that we are co-creating it. As we are co-creating the book, we are co-creating all of these things. As soon as they are in our reality, we have to, or they wouldn't be in our reality. And I see, when I go back reading the Seth material, for instance, every time it has changed. It's not the same material I read before, because my perception has changed, and what I can perceive has changed, what I can receive has changed as a being, as a fractal. So I realize that many of these things evolved as I am evolving. So I see that these things that I have been that we have been talking about right now, I wouldn't have done this way 1 year ago. And going into also perceive the let's say the behind the scene thing. So how that was fascinating to bring out the perspective of the creator, because we forget. I know that we forget that perspective, and that perspective is our perspective, because that's what we are. And we do forget that we are creators, and that we are that constantly. And that's true. I mean, you know, when we read a book, we don't really see it as a universe. It is a universe. It's not a fantasy book. It's not fantasy. It's a universe. Yeah. Right. Well. Anyway, this has been fun, really fun, and it has been in the making for some time now, and I'm really happy to have done it finally, because it's really interesting. And I like when I perceive a fear in myself, that I'm acting in a certain way, and I recognize that I'm doing that out of fear of consequences or anything like that. I'm taking the perspective of saying, if I fear it, it's because I have to do it, because I don't want to validate the fear by running away. So I've seen that I was fearing talking about birth as an enter point, where, I mean, it's a perspective. So why being in fear about that? Yeah. So here we are. Right. So I think that if I remember how to stop this, I think that it is now 2 hours in it, and it's midnight, and I think that I need to go to sleep, because these last days, yesterday I have 1 hour where I was so tired, 1 hour where I cannot account of neither falling asleep, neither being asleep, neither dreaming, nothing. I just was there at 8:50, and I just opened my eyes at 9:45, and in between, blackout. So I think that I need some rest. I'm still a human being. So anyway, thank you, all of you, everyone that joined. As I always say, doesn't matter when in time you watch anything, it's always now. So in any now, and I know now, we have seen this, and it is fantastic that everything that we do, anything that we experience, anything that we say or whatever, it's in history. Well, now we know that this, and everyone is in history, so this will be also in history. That's fascinating. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Roxy. Love you so much. Love you, everyone. And yeah, now how do I stop this? Yeah, I think I have to go here.